state lines with hillbillies and guns. It's been a hell of a ride and a whole lot of fun. They gave me many names down there in Dixie, but the main one that stuck on me was whiskey.
And welcome to another episode of the Bourbon and Ballistics Podcast, the podcast where we talk a little about whiskey, a little about firearms, and a whole lot of everything in between. I'm your host, Joel Potter, so I invite you to sit back, relax, and pour yourself a glass. Let's talk some bourbon and ballistics. On today's show, we have Jeremy Litka. How are you doing, bud?
Good. How about you, man?
Good. A good longtime friend.
Yeah.
And shit, go back to, I think I first met you in middle school,
Yeah, I remember you being friends with my sister when we were younger. So yeah, man. It's been a while.
That was you were heavy into sports back then, so you weren't around much, and when you were sleeping usually.
Yeah,
so
that's working out or doing sports. That's what you did.
Yeah, football guy.
Yes.
Right. Wrestling guy.
Wrestled a little bit in high school, but it wasn't any good, so I didn't stick with it.
Okay. But you did. I remember. I think it was last year. You got some sort of a recognition or award at the high school.
Yeah, I got inducted into their all-time Hall of Fame for charity work and stuff, coaching football, different things in the community, doing charity work really with the veterans and stuff.
You and that's one of the really cool things about you is that you do give you and Pam, your wife, you do give a lot to the community, to their friends. You do a lot of stuff with the different affiliate programs, and so you guys are running ragged.
We just always believed you should give back to your community. Part of it was I always regretted not serving my country somehow, whether it be military, police, fire, whatever. And it kind of had like this little survivor guilt. Mm-hmm. So I started doing charity work for veterans to give back to them and their families, to make sure that they know that us civilians care.
Yeah.
And we care. And my wife always did stuff for breast cancer. She was on a committee for almost 20 years for the local hospital doing breast cancer stuff. And she raised like $500,000 over that time.
Well,
and it stayed all local, and I helped those women, and you saw the results, and it just, I don't know, makes you feel good to help people out on a real basis, real tangible items of helping them out.
When you're not, I guess we'll start off with like your everyday thing first. You have a full-time job before you go out and do all this stuff on the weekends that keeps you guys so busy, right? What do you do for your 9 to 5?
I work maintenance at a local manufacturing plant.
Okay. You've been there for a while?
About 18 years.
Okay.
Before that, I did construction. I've always been in construction and moving around and doing. I tried computer work for a while. It just wasn't. No.
So you've been there for 18 years, and when did it kind of start hitting you? When did you start getting that little voice in your head telling you to get out there and do some of this volunteer work?
Really started paying attention to my friends that went and served, and then they were losing buddies and losing friends, and guys are coming back with major PTSD, and it's affecting them and their family life. And you're seeing these effects of when a soldier passes or a police officer passes, and somebody's got to pick up the pieces for their family, and these things. People can believe what they want, but those guys aren't taken care of. Their families aren't taken care of. The big thing that we're raising money for right now is that place pays for fallen soldiers' kids to go to college. They even pay for private schools and daycares and things like that. You're talking. There was a guy just killed in training. They're immediately paying for that. That mom's working. She's lost her husband. She lost her provider, and no one to take care of her. They lost an income. Mm-hmm. You're done. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't know how to pick up the pieces when her daughter's in college or other daughters in a private school, and her got another daughter in daycare, and you got to go figure it out.
Yep.
And so these programs help those people out. Mm-hmm. And it's a pretty cool thing. They get a lot of soldiers, teams guys, special forces guys. This is a special forces group, but they find a way to help guys even if they weren't special forces. Like, oh, you were on that deployment with the special forces, you're attached to us, we're paying for your stuff.
Oh, really?
And they really started taking care of each other, and watching that happen, you gotta, if I couldn't serve and do it myself, I gotta figure out how to do it. So that's what, I don't know. It seems minuscule to me, but when you get thanked by a special forces guy for what you're doing, it's different.
And I guess before we get any farther into the conversation, let's talk about what we're going to drink first. I don't want to sit there with an empty glass the entire time.
Yep.
We're going to try the George Remus Straight Bourbon. It's 94 proof. I must say that a couple weeks ago, we were down at Battleborn Wine and Whiskey doing one of their whiskey snob classes. Shout out to Troy down there at Battleborn.
He's always hooking me up.
He's the best. And he ended up pouring this Repeal Reserve Remus, and so it kind of piqued my interest to come. I saw this bottle sitting at the Walmart, and I was like, well, I wonder what this, I have not had it before. And you said you have not either.
No, I've not had that.
Okay. So if it's anything, I mean, hopefully it's, it's got some good qualities to it, and I don't see why it wouldn't, but we're going to give that a shot. Like I said, we're kind of going high and loose on this one, so I don't have a lot of backup information on this, but we're hoping that it's good, and we're just going to pour it, and we'll just kind of shoot the shit, and
it's brown water. We like that.
Anything brown, yeah, that's fine.
Well, there's some that you're not, but we're out to find out.
Good pop. See your glass. We're trying out these.
Did you just get these bad dogs?
No. Eventually, I'm going to go see Russ.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, he can hit him with the laser.
Get your podcast logo.
Yeah.
Or the bourbon. And
that's the plan someday. So, all right. Well, hey, thanks for coming to the show. Cheers.
Thank you. That's for the ones that didn't come.
So we didn't take anything that.
No, we didn't take anything Troy said impossible.
Threw that right out.
But I did pregame.
Okay.
Get my mouth ready.
Yeah. So I did not. So I'm completely unprepared for this. But I mean, it knows as well. The palate doesn't. It's definitely for. I think it was like a $35 bottle.
Yeah, that's good. I
would definitely keep that stocked on the shelf.
That's the only thing I did that Troy said to do was I took a shot of Buffalo Trace out of my newly acquired flask.
Oh, good. and we'll talk about that too. That's gonna be because I guess as we'll get back to you. For as long as I've known that you've been into doing the affiliate stuff and doing all the charity work, you have quite a few companies that you represent when you're out and about, right? A quick rundown of some of those.
Well, Team Whiskey, local guys, we ran. They were just by chance. Team Whiskey's one. There's another guy, Patriot Beard Supply. He's an Army vet, but he makes beard oils and stuff. That's all natural stuff he does. There was a couple other ones I've come and gone with, but I try to back up veteran-owned people, companies, things that believe in, not just for the whole like Wayne's World thing where they're holding the bag of chips that get sponsored. Affiliate with myself with people that I believe in, right? Like the Team Whiskey guys, you met them. They're about hunting, fishing in America, and having a glass of whiskey. Pretty cool stuff to be a part of.
Fantastic guys, yeah.
And obviously, we use beard oil and different things. Some of those flavors don't smell. Some things are a little patchouli oil smell to me, and I'm not a hippie, so
you got to be careful. I mean, I haven't had a beard for very long. Just probably 5-6 years maybe at best, but I've ran through a plethora of different products, just kind of wait. Cause a lot of it, it's like, you don't want to smell like,
some of it's just
you've been living out in the woods with 12-year hippie dude friends and doing all sorts of weird, guitar shit over the campfire, right? The whole time. But there's some stuff that it's also almost too fruity, right? You get
there's
weird stuff.
Like some of the Patriot Beard stuff. He has one that's spent brass. It smells pretty good. And then he does one, he tries to pay homage to each branch. Like he has a leather neck and he has a frog, one for the SEALs and the Navy and different.
Oh, cool.
And those ones, they smell pretty good, you know. But then there's some other ones that are like, oh, that one smells like off.
Yeah.
You know, you've probably bought many oils, many balms. You probably have a stack that you use, and you go, oh, man,
Wish I wouldn't have done that.
wish I wouldn't have bought that. It's okay. I don't.
And it's cool because you're spending, and it's not a lot of times. I don't know where, on as far as the price range where Patriot Beard Supply runs in there, but a lot of times it's like your oils and balms are, $12-15 somewhere in there probably, and you can't use it, and
Yeah, you're like,
shit. On these bad days, I'm like, fine.
Yeah, his is around the same prices like that.
To check that out. Patriot Beard Supply.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have a dumb code. You can get a discount if you use Indebted. I believe it's Indebted. You can get, I don't know if it's 5 or 10% off or something. Cool. I don't know. Herbert just used it the other day. Actually,
he was talking about getting rid of his beard. How to pull up on.
Oh, dude, I had to get up there and beat him up.
What the hell?
I mean, I haven't shaved fully probably since 1996.
Probably when you're in like elementary school.
Well, you know what happened was doing sports, I'd shave. And then at football practice, I'd get a big rash on my neck and all. So I just stopped shaving. And then I had a full beard and it became a thing. Who's this dude you're 17 and you got a full beard? And, they're asking me if I'm 35 at the coin toss and stuff like that. And then started doing this veteran stuff and I got leaked up with some companies and the beard became like this persona. So
yeah, what's your handle on Instagram?
It's Patriot Beard.
Yeah.
So that just kind of developed from doing stuff with a few companies, the Axelsons and Russ's company, Nevada Cerakote, and it just developed from there with ODM Defense and guys just promoting it and making it bigger for me. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess this is a thing. Let's just run with it. Now I can't shave. My grandma wants, she's 94. I thought about shaving just for her once, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's known you this long with a beard.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. My wife's never seen me without a beard. And even when they had the kids, they're like, hey, don't shave. Your kids won't recognize you.
I think my kids are kind of mortified to think about whatever does happen if I have to, I don't see it happening, but time will tell.
I know we've had requirements at work where you got to wear a respirator.
Yeah.
I just don't pass the test.
And there's and when I was over in the materials division at NDOT, they did fit tests for all your masks and in the aggregate slab only. So luckily they didn't work in there, but a lot of guys, it was them having to come in clean shaved all the time. I just like, I don't.
To be real, if you tighten it tight enough, it makes a seal. This is just the way it works. If with your if you have a sleep apnea machine, if you tighten it tight enough on your beard, it works.
It's not going to leak.
It works just fine. So a respirator is going to work just fine.
Yeah.
There's stupid little tricks with bag balm or something, Vaseline on it.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. Just tighten it. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, we're both team CPAP, huh?
Yeah. CPAP. Boom. Team CPAP. Yeah. My wife's at a conference this week, so I'm sleeping with that one.
Oh man, riding dirty. I don't, even now I think, not to get real deep into sleep apnea, but when I am even by myself, it's like I just notice a huge difference if I try to sleep without it, and I'll wake up and just,
Yeah, you find yourself gagging or even more tired in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, so I bring it with me pretty much everywhere, and a lot of times, like, we have this guys trip we take up to VC on the side-by-sides. Probably the last time I took the thing out, come to think of it. But it's coming up next month. And so, but anyways, I'll bring it up there with me. And like usually the guys will just get a bunch of, twin beds. And so it's like just me and my CPAP and whomever, we're splitting the room with. Or it's just stupid, man.
How about it? You feel better.
I know
it's dumb, but I sleep better with it.
But it makes me wonder, like, are you conditioning your lungs and your circulation to
depend on it.
Yeah. To those conditions. Because when you wake up in the morning, it's like, I don't know, it's just me, but like the first few hours of the day when I'm off the machine, it's like, I feel like my lungs are a little bit tighter. Like, I don't know if it has anything to do with it. Could be allergies. I don't know. I'm not in that, I'm not a doctor, so I don't fucking know.
I've been raw dogging that thing for a little while. My wife's probably sick of it.
Yeah.
was yelling at me the other day to wear it.
So enough about CPAP.
Got off a little off the side there. Good.
Yeah. Let's get back. So you brought up the Axelson Foundation, Matt Axelson Foundation, and another here local still, right? They haven't left us.
No. His parents are here, and his brother is here. They're separate entities. His brother runs the Axelson Tactical, which I believe is disappearing. He had some things. I won't get too deep with him, sure. But we stayed associated with the foundation, which is his parents and Cindy, Matthew's wife. It's her family. Her parents are involved, and she's involved, and she is actually with another SEAL that runs the SEAL Future Foundation, which they help guys integrate back into society.
Oh, that's very
and
cool.
They build FOBs, forward operating bases within each city to give guys connections with each other so that they know that they're not alone and they got someone to hook up with and hang out with and get them back into society. They live up in Reno, and it's good to have them as part of it. Mm-hmm. And, we run the little golf tournament every year at the end of the June. Yep. It took some convincing, but we do it the last weekend, which is Matthew's birthday and the anniversary of the mission, which gets people involved, and it's pretty cool to, like, last year we did the golf tournament was actually on Matthew's birthday. So they got him a cake and did some cool stuff.
Oh, wow.
Super cool.
That's cool.
And it's super cool stuff I know people have seen the movie and all that, but when you see these Gold Star families and how this has become their life to live, I don't want to say in the shadow of their fallen son, but that's who they'll always be. Mm-hmm. And they're people, she's a school teacher. She's a school teacher in Carson City. She's 78, still working, and she actually retires this year, and her husband he'll be 80, and he's a bus driver here in town.
Oh yeah.
And they're both retiring this year, and
good.
Well, hopefully the kids on Cindy's side and stuff start helping and taking over. They're starting to get back into the foundation, and everything's pretty cool because everybody have lives, They're raising kids. Cindy's little brother, he's got kids. They're chasing kids. You know what it's like chasing young kids. You can't be involved in all these events and chase your kids.
Well,
there's a balance
planning that goes into some of these events. I mean, the golf thing that you were talking about. I mean, that alone. I mean, you guys prep for that for
we meet. Time. I say we meet once a month, every year.
Yeah.
And then we take a little time off right after we meet and go over stuff, and then we'll take a little time off for the summer and come back. But I mean, we've been meeting once a month since, and then as we get closer, it's every couple of weeks to make sure things happen because it's a 3-day event. Mm-hmm. One day is Donna likes to do a thing at her house just for the SEALs. It's just teams guys, special forces guys. They get to have some pizza and beer and just hang out with each other.
That's cool.
And then we do a dinner on Saturday, which is a sponsor dinner, which is really cool because we've run into quite a few companies like Sunbelt Rentals. Their CO and stuff is a SEAL. Oh. So he throws down the gauntlet and he pays for a lot of stuff. He's pretty rad. It's pretty rad to see what he does and pays for and gets back to the guys. And then he comes here and the guy's like, dude, I haven't seen you since this mission or buds, and to see these guys connect. And then we have a lot of SEALs out in Fallon. Mm-hmm. They come here for training and stuff, and they're always wanting to go to. Last year they took some of them to Edgewood, so they were excited to do that. But cool. And then Sunday the golf tournament, which is all about raising money for the foundation.
And was there? Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was going to be was there ever a skeet shoot? Or were you guys talking about doing the skeet?
Yeah, we tried to do one in Carson, and we just didn't get enough. It was kind of short notice, and we didn't get enough participants in it to do it. But we'd like to do it again. The problem was we can't do two things so close together,
right?
And
that's a tough time of year anyway.
Yeah, and let's be real, people do get a little over given to charity, right? Mm-hmm. These times we're living in, things are going on. You try to give extra to people as much as you can, but when it's constant barrage with the way the world works with Facebook and Instagram, everybody's got a charity they're trying to do something for,
Constantly
and you just got to pick your cause and do it, right? You know, some of it was when I was younger, I had kids, I just coached. That's what I did because I figured if I was coaching football, it's time to spend with my child, right? And then as they got older, we started doing these other things. I started teaching them to give back to their community. So my kids help with his events too. I mean, now it's a little harder to wrangle now that they're 21.
I was gonna say, how old are they now?
My son's 21. My daughter's 16. Yeah. The 16-year-old's, she's helpful. The 21-year-old, you got to corral him, but he's still a good dude. And you know, the Axelsons love him. They treat him like he's one of their grandchildren or something. They love him. They love my kids. It's pretty rad little experience. And the foundation page, my wife runs it.
No.
So we've been big on trying to get them on social media more and out there and connected with the Operation Red Wing Foundation, which was formerly the Lone Survivor Foundation of Marcus's. And then there's a few others like the SEAL Future Foundation and the other one. The big one we give back to, most of the money, we split it right now between the SEAL Future Foundation and the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. That's the one that pays for college and stuff for the kids.
Gotcha.
And the other one that I just talked about was helps the guys when they get out, which is pretty cool.
That's way cool.
And there's other guys that I talked to and the stuff they experienced and the way they're treated when they get home. And
that's what I was going to allude to.
You know, the way
the VA is a fucking joke.
Oh my God. Well, I had one buddy who went to work for the VA and he ended up getting fired from the VA because he's helping his buddies out.
Yeah.
They were like, oh no, we can't do. So he went a different route. Now he does almsbud against the homes and stuff like that. So now he's doing his thing, but man, that kid got messed up. He's forever going to limp. His back's going to hurt and damaged his relationship with they're no longer together. You don't have a wife anymore. You got surrogate, you got kids, and the whole family dynamic gets messed up off of him not being able to function as a human, essentially. And there's no support. And where we live, this little town, these guys have got to depend on each other. And I've noticed that there's a thing here called WAVE, which unfortunately they couldn't get any more funding. WAVE was Welcome All Veterans Everywhere. Oh. They're the ones that funded and got together that little wall that's in front of the courthouse down in Minden.
Oh.
Well, they fell apart. The problem there is it was a bunch of old timers, and they weren't getting the younger. I say younger veterans, but let's be real. We're in our 40s, and we've been at war for 20 years here, and our kids have never seen peacetime, and our friends that have served have never seen peacetime. And these guys need help, and this is a little town, and they need to get together with each other. I think there's a couple guys. There's a group on Facebook that's a bunch of local veterans that have been linking up with each other. Jay, he works over at Bikes and Brew. He's a Marine. I think he gathers some buddies up together to do things here and there. And they do different stuff. There's bike rides and Jeep trails but not all of them have the same interests. But let's be real. They need people to talk to
and this is a perfect opportunity to segue into, VetMech Arms out in Fernley. They host every single Monday, if I'm not mistaken. They do like a veterans breakfast. They set up a bunch of tables.
That's awesome.
And then every Monday they'll come in there and just have like all the veterans from all over, Fernley and Fallon. I think, and maybe, out here, I don't know how far they come.
Yeah, but that's a thing that needs to be promoted to all these guys. I mean, people don't really know that Fernley is where our Nevada National Cemetery is.
And like I said, VetMech, Steven and Brian over there at VetMech are, ass deep in this program, and then they're giving every ounce that they can back into back to the veterans. They're doing all these raffles and giveaways and all this. 100% of the proceeds. Amazing people.
That's cool.
Unfortunately, I wish I could see them more than I get to. They're both amazing human beings, and like I said, they're both veterans themselves, and they are just doing what they can, out there. And it would be neat to have like, a central hub or like kind of try to promote something like that here.
Yeah. To connect people, there's probably like a hub in Carson. There's a hub down here and that's what like the fob thing is, if we could just get it with everybody to connect to these different things, to do these events in different towns. And they all feel like they're alone. Get it. I get it.
Yep.
I never feel like I'm doing enough, but when I run into guys and you're thanked and you're like, oh dude, you're doing enough. You're like, well, I didn't do anything. I'm just trying to help you guys on this side of it. There's a few guys that live around here. There's a couple former SEALs around here. I talk to them here and there, try to go shooting with them or get them to come to jiu-jitsu. That's the other thing is doing jiu-jitsu. I've met so many people there that all walks of life, and we find out there's a ton of retired military people in this town just trying to get through, and jiu-jitsu is a big thing for most of them.
How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu?
Like five years. I started 2019. Only know that because a memory came up on Facebook.
Oh, that helps.
Yeah, it just came up, and we were laughing about it because I had to take some time off for surgery and stuff, and getting back into it. It's not about the physical thing. You make some connection with some dudes, and to see, my sensei is former Air Force, which actually he was stationed with my wife's uncle in Panama. That's how I met him.
Oh wow,
small world, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
And he's a firefighter out on the Marine base south of here, so he gets a lot of the Marines come up, and these guys connect. He gives them all a military discount, but so I'll be honest, he probably lets most of them train for free. And there's a lot of cops and firefighters and stuff that are there, and these guys all connect, and we go for beers afterwards and stuff. And there's a little family. These guys all connect, and we don't really think about it. We're just there folding each other up and having a good time. But you start making some friendships, and I'm sure, my buddy Preston, that he moved. He was the one I was talking about. Preston was great.
Hell of a guy.
The jiu-jitsu helped him connect with some people, and he loved it. Made him feel whole again for a while there,
It's been almost to the day 1 month since I've recorded on this podcast. And so I want to apologize for all the tens of people that listen to this thing.
But we've been trying to connect since what? When did you text me? February?
And
that was January. Because remember, I went dry. I went 45 days without a drink.
Yeah. I bet you that first one was pretty good though, huh?
Oh man.
Everybody says that. I mean, a lot of the really good whiskey guys that I follow, social media guys, they all do it because it's just kind of that reset, to the palate, to the taste buds. I think even the aromas change after you haven't done it for a while.
Problem I was finding was that it was almost like a hobby. We're just working for the weekend to have a drink. And I wanted to, the beers and the other things I felt like I needed to cleanse my body. And I did that, and that's fine. But then, like you're saying, I got back to whiskey, and that's all I want. Just whiskey. Just a nice glass of whiskey. Like you said, the aromas, the taste, your palate, everything's different. And the whiskey's just easier. I talked about this at that whiskey event a little bit was, you started drinking. Yeah, you had some Crown, and you're like, oh, Crown, yeah. And then you get into, we were drinking, probably at the same time, we were both drinking Lead Slingers like it was water, right? And it was good. But when you start getting into more and more stuff, I went to one of Troy's classes, and your palate starts getting different. Now you're buying these 129 proof, burn yourself.
That's when you start getting into whiskey.
Right. And then I go to another one of Troy's class, and my mind's completely blown like I've never learned anything about whiskey before. Right. Yeah, I mean, that was just that was 3 weeks ago. And I learned the stuff in that class that I hadn't learned in the previous two. And your palate. I feel like my palate changes where I used to like one whiskey, and now I'm like,
Like you had your favorite.
Yeah.
And then you tried something, and it's like that favorite all of a sudden just shoots. How much has my taste changed as far as whiskey is concerned in this short time, right? Enough to go, hey, I should start a podcast where we just try new whiskeys every other week and talk about stuff. It's a big deal.
Yeah, but you're tasting whiskey with some friends, you're having conversations with, I've seen the list of guests. You've had Russ and you've had Matt and Jeff and other guys that I don't know who are here. There are other business owners in town that and they all have the same interests and they're all doing amazing things within our community that no one knows about. Right. Yeah. And you never know. I don't know if you've ever heard of Gary V or follow Gary V, but there's a quote from him. Gary V is a big dude. What he started out was doing wine on YouTube, and then he'd go to yard sales and flip stuff on eBay. Now he's a self-made millionaire at 40, 45 years old.
Gary V.
His philosophy is everybody starts out with 0 followers, right? You got to build it. Mm-hmm. So just keep on the grind and keep building it. You never know. Mm-hmm. And you're building this thing, you're doing this thing. This is just a cool little passion hobby for you, but you never know.
Yeah.
You might be, you get connected with Nate and Josh. You guys doing things together. Everybody's building each other up, connecting as men and as community members within the same area with common goals, and build each other up and promote each other. And
this week on the Tradesman Experience, they got real personal, and it's interesting. It's because they've been doing this for a long time now.
Yeah.
These two guys have been sitting there talking to people, and so you got to see them from the very beginning, their very first step, and that's what I decided to do, oldest to newest. And so I'm watching these, and I'm texting Josh. I'm like, oh my god, that episode was unbelievable, and he's like, thinking, there's been so many. He's had so many episodes, right? But you look at it and you get to see kind of like the foreshadowing of the episode that led up to this week, which was, the vulnerability that men try not to portray, right? We don't need to talk about the whole
tough guy persona that we carry.
And if you have not, if you do not follow the Tradesman Experience, I mean, I don't own, I'm not in the trades, but there's so much information that they unpackage in every single episode. I mean, the dynamic between Josh and Nate is just, it's huge. And you learn, I mean, it's like a lot of like self-reflection. It's a lot of like, their goal is to engage with, business owners to get out there and become a monster. And that's their purpose. But at the same time, like I said, this week, it was a little bit more than that.
A little different where they got personal.
Yeah.
I met Nate. I do another charity thing. Sorry. For local hunting and fishing stuff, whatever. And he donated, and he made this amazing fire pit that he donated to the Chucker Club, right? And I saw him there, and I'm like, man, I know this dude from somewhere, whatever. And then when you invited me to that whiskey thing, I was like, man, where do I know this guy from? And then we got to talking. I got to talking to him and Josh, and I felt like I knew these guys forever. And it was just this little connection about manhood and the way we grew up and different things. And I had no idea about them having a podcast or what they did or anything, but maybe I'm wrong. I felt like we had a connection, right? And I've been trying to chase him down since. I found his business online, and then you made a post yesterday, I think, and I found their podcast and was trying to rummage through some of it. And that was the one little clip that I caught, was that vulnerability stuff. And this is something I talk about with my buddies. And I got quite a few friends that we text each other every couple of days.
Okay.
And it's a simple, I love you. Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid to tell a man you love him. Mm-hmm. You don't know when you don't get to see him again. Mm-hmm. So don't be scared. It's that simple. I don't know all of what they talked about. I only caught that one clip that he posted on Instagram. But we can be men, we can be tough, we can be the standing statue for your family, but you can tell another man you love him, because you don't, that stuff comes from, you see buddies struggle, ask them a question. You can see it in their eyes, because you look in the mirror and when you're struggling. Mm-hmm. So you can see it.
You're not hiding it.
Yeah, you're not hiding it. Yeah. So you might think you're hiding it. You're not hiding it. But when you look at your buddy and you see it in his eyes, ask him a question. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's a hard one. He may not want to answer that question, but try him.
Yeah.
Try him.
You never know unless you ask, right? I mean, the answer is going to be no, regardless.
Yeah. I mean, you already don't have the information out of him, right? You never know. He could just need a hug that day.
Yep. And it is it is important. I think I'm not trying to piggyback off their podcast because like I said, I want everybody to go check that one out, especially because
it was a good research
one. But on the business end of it, I mean, there's so much relatable material even for First Line that I just go, fuck, that's what, that's, so Josh is a business coach, and that's his business, is to build up companies. And when his brother and Nate all kind of hooked up, and they kind of broke down Battleborn Welding, and then kind of, I don't know that, I mean, it's like I said, it's not my realm, so I'm not going to delve too deep into it, but they rebuilt the business and kind of found some of the problems, and kind of just took that stuff out of the equation and kind of rebuilt from the ground up. And so they've been on this rebuilding phase, the last couple of years. A little
journey. I saw a little bit of an interview with, I think it was Nate was talking about stuff that maybe Josh had taught him. I believe about, you think you're one type of leader, but then you learn you need to be a different type of leader. And it's hard to tear yourself back to it and do the right thing for your workers. You want to be this tough guy. I can't remember all of what he was saying, but it kind of resonated with me. I mean, I work for a Fortune 500 company. I'm just there collecting a paycheck essentially, right? Like I'm not building my business, but in my mind, I'm thinking, man, I got a group of dudes that I work with.
How could you apply that?
Yeah, right? They kind of look to me as a leader. Like, I need to think about this. I need to think about their personalities and how you talk to them. And I've been looking for Josh and Nate for 3 weeks since the whiskey thing, and I finally found them. And now I'm gonna get cracked out watching all their podcasts and doing their stuff.
And when I'm sitting down, because I'm saying, I'm in front of a computer screen for the majority of my day, 40 hours plus a week.
Yeah.
It's like, if I have the opportunity to throw one of their pods on, and that's exactly what I'll do. And then it's like, I try to break down that episode and try to figure out a way to get that to resonate in my life. Right. Because now, my job duties have changed. And so I try to go, okay, like I don't have the same responsibilities or capabilities, the same reach as a business owner, but how do I apply what the free advice that Josh is giving in these podcasts? And it goes as far as, like I said, when we start talking about First Line all the time, I'm like, this is the kind of stuff that maybe I need to, try to bring to that business. It's how do we make this thing do or how do we fix some of those cracked shells or whatever that are in the company right now to get this thing to be, because is not beside you to know my passion for First Line and how much I absolutely love that product, how much I love this company,
Again, going back to the beginning of what we were talking about, you're asking me about companies I'm affiliated with. Yes, I'm affiliated with your company. You're a friend. If you're going to do a business, I figure this, if I'm buying something, I'm buying it from a friend. I'm going to pay you anyways. I don't expect handouts from anybody. I'm buying it from you because I'm going to buy it anyways. But I believe in your product, not because it's you and Corey, because it's a damn good product, right?
Mighty fine product.
So back to promoting what you believe in and those things. You're passionate about it. I can see it. You had Corey on your podcast. You guys aren't trying to retire off this thing, right?
No, that's right.
It's a cool little passion. It gets you out in the game. And this was a thing that I try to explain to my wife. Like, listen, I have a 9-to-5 job. I work 6 to 2:30 every day, make a set amount of money. That's all I'm going to ever be, right, doing that. But outside of that, there's still 16 hours in my day. What are you going to do with it, right? Mm-hmm. And you hear all these speeches from David Goggins and all these guys. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do with all your time? And you only spend 40 hours a week working. What are you going to do with the other 160, 120 hours that are in the week? Well, you're making some targets. You like to shoot. You like to do that stuff. So why not do something? It's a side gig. You're not losing money, but you're not making a pile of money. But you get to be around like-minded people and do something you want to do and almost pay for itself. Shooting targets, getting people to shoot your targets, buy your targets. And the journey it's taking you on.
That's probably, it's tough because, my portion of the business is merely just presenting it. Corey does all the back end work. He did, he built the website. He orders the steel. He gets the steel. He does the welding. I grind it, paint it, and try to get it out there.
Yeah, but Corey was on your podcast. So he's not a front man, and he loves that. He's okay with that. He's an amazing person. He's a smart human being. He knows what needs to be done. He's very meticulous, and those targets are.
He's a smart motherfucker.
You guys don't. Oh, man. He thinks about every detail, anything he does. I'm not talking about just the target, anything. The website design, everything he does. He just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to talk to the public. Doesn't want to do anything, and do it.
Right. We've had our fair share of nut kicks with the launch of the company. We built it in the fall, or we decided to start getting through R&D fall of 19.
Yeah, I see it's been
launched it in 2020, years. Right before fucking COVID hit. And then it's just been like this constant uptick of price. Like inflation's just fucking annihilated. We know we are doing the best we can with what we got. It's hard to convey that message to people when you have. I know in my heart, and I know without a doubt that this product is superior to anything else I've seen personally on the market.
Come on now.
You were just playing around for your birthday.
Yeah, you guys let me borrow a set that, back to the R&D conversation, you let me borrow a set that we shot the hell out of. I took my son and my father out. My dad was like, oh man, where's this been? My dad's 73. He's been shooting for years. He loves target shooting. And he's like, man, these stands, you flip this out, you can do whatever you want with it. He loved the stand. He loved everything, and they're amazing. It's not because you guys are my friends. It's because they're a damn good product. We've shot every piece of that thing, including the stand. And Corey went through everything to protect it and do the right thing. And the prices of stuff gone up, and you're trying to make it, and you're doing good. I think they're amazing. It's just getting them out there, right?
Right. And eventually, and that's why, I preach this every freaking week. It's just a matter of getting in front of the right audience. We've almost saturated the Douglas County shooters with these targets. They all have them. Yeah. That's which is really good. And we're so thankful for that. But it's like breaking into, because our surrounding area, we've had one out at VetMech. And I went out and talked to Steven and Brian, showed them the target, put it on the floor, and I was only barely to Silver Springs. And he's like, well, we sold it. It was gone before I even made it home, Right. And, we've struggled to get more stuff out there. And I apologize, it's coming, I promised, if you guys still want it. But it's just that. It's just like that. If once people actually get to see and touch them and get to use them, utilize them, carry the bag around, all this, there's so many cool things about it. But once they touch it, it changes it, because everyone goes from the beginning, they go, I want the cheapest one. Because when you look at our prices, that's exactly what
they see that coup de grace price, and they're like, oh my God, it's $7. But really, look, you get the stand, you can get it as you go. You can use the stand, you can use a 2x4, you can get the other piece. I shoot IDPA here and there. I think it's great practice. Everybody likes the instant reaction, right? Ding, 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 ding. I know I hit my target. This is fun. You don't need the hostage. You don't need all that stuff if you don't want it. There's amazing targets you can practice on with this thing all day. And it fits it's in a gun bag, man. Little gun bag. It's smaller than your rifle bag.
And we'll talk, and we'll get into, so a couple weeks ago, Team Whiskey actually held an event up in South Lake at the Mont Bleu Event Center called the Whiskey Bonanza. I promoted the ever-living shit out of it.
Yes, you did. I had a great time. I don't know what everyone else was doing.
You've seen that. But it was a spectacular first-year event. The weather shit.
Oh, dude.
It all over.
That was torture.
But, it was up there probably 6 to 8 inches in 2 hours, right? Peak
time of everyone wanting to come into the event.
Shit all over the event. But, it's I've been saying, the people that were going to come to that event weren't afraid of the snow. But it was the tourists that were not expecting the snow that you're hoping to draw in there.
Yeah, the people walking downtown. Hey, what's this event? Let's go in here. Oh, check it out. For $40, we were going to get whiskey and food, and check out all these cool products. The people I've talked to was amazing feedback. I talked to Kevin. He's the owner of Team Whiskey. He had some feedback that was kind of negative about running out of food and different things. And he was like, you know what? I don't care. We learned something here and we're going to do better next year. Yep. They had a little problem with the snow. The band couldn't get there.
And got stuck on
a band stepped up and they came and played some reggae music. It was pretty rad little event. We hung out for a while waiting for the roads to clear. I think it'd be rad. Blind Dog Coffee was there. They're pretty rad. They're pairing with whiskeys and stuff, making coffee with roasted in whiskey. I think Team Whiskey did one with them. I think Frey Ranch has done one with them. There's a lot of local companies up there promoting their stuff, and a lot of guys we support. And it was a super cool thing. I like the turnout at the beginning. I don't know if you guys got some leads on targets. I think ODM Herbert got some leads on holsters and his little Kydex flask thing.
It was so prominent. Like the event, I think once it matures, undoubtedly is going to be, they do the high desert or the high Sierra archery shoot.
Yeah, they do 2 shoots every year. 2 shoots,
and so I feel like they're not rookies, and so they put this thing together. And I guess for people that didn't get to make it out there, the idea is you buy a wristband and you get to come in and you get to sample bottomless whiskey.
Oh yeah.
The entire time you're there. I mean, they're pouring shots the entire time, and there was no limit to that. And then you have it was an outdoor festival essentially. Like there was like short films playing, like outdoor films playing.
Yeah, they had some films on the thing. They had like a little archery range.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little golf thing. I think there was guys with e-bikes and different stuff you could do. And there's all the vendors of popcorn and people selling their things. But they're big archery hunters. They're into hunting. Next year, people will probably get some bigger things in there. Do some bigger stuff.
And it sounded like Kevin was, he's adamant that this is something they're going to keep.
Yeah, Kevin's a great guy. Him and his real quick, he started Team Whiskey. This was all about his wife having cancer, and they started it kind of just like, hey, we're Team Whiskey. We're going to beat cancer, right? With his wife. And then he started selling some stuff, and he donated and still donates to this day. Profit from everything he sells goes to the local cancer thing. He donates in Reno because that's where his wife was in that center, and they took care of her. She passed away a few years ago. So he just making Team Whiskey bigger and bigger. And then they got whiskey. He's got a buddy, Whiskey Kenny. He's all over the place. Kenny's a good dude doing the whiskey. They actually just got nationwide distributing this week.
I saw that on
that's pretty rad.
Social media. Yeah, that's awesome.
And they donate. Proceeds go. And in fact, in a couple weeks, I'm going with them to a huge charity event in Reno at the Nugget. I think it's called Give Hope or whatever. It's a huge thing that's cool. For cancer and everything up in Reno. And they just give back. And, he wants to build up the brand name, build up the thing, and do local events. He lives in Tahoe. He loves Tahoe. They do that High Sierra shoot, which is, I believe they're a heavenly. The problem is it's the same weekend as our golf tournament. Oh. So I usually get.
Yeah, it's tough.
I know. I talk to him every year. I'm like, damn it, Kevin.
Well, and then the golf thing is like, I mean, I don't golf at all, and I would love to come out there and at least support the event. But I feel like every year it has been, there's something, something, I don't golf. Like that's the biggest thing. First and foremost, but just come out there and actually, probably some pretty fucking cool dudes out there.
Yeah, it's amazing things. But actually, we end up hanging out at the Genoa bar, or a lot of them stay at CVI. And so this year, actually, we are doing the sponsor dinner at CVI, which is rad because now they're there at CVI. Those guys like to they like to play blackjack. They like to gamble. They like to hang out and have a good time. They love the Genoa bar. They love this little town. They come here and respect things and do stuff. And you can go meet those guys, have a good time with them. And, the golf is fun. We kind of set it up where it's like a celebrity golf tournament where every foursome gets a seal with them. Some of the seals don't want to be labeled as such, like they're like, hey, I'm just a dude playing golf to give back to this event. But, I'm not any good at golf. I just go to get out of the house and hang out with my buddies, trying to get better at it, but I'm not even going to bother. It's not even worth getting angry about. Just bring a flask with you.
Yes. And I think that's one of the big things too, is, at this late in the game. And I was kind of bust Mike Mason's balls because it's like, here he is, he's like doing the impossible, really just going out there and just putting all his energy into golf. And he's out there at the Masters or whatever.
Yeah. I was thinking about texting him on my way here because, I got a gift card to Sunridge and we're always trying to pair up him and Zevi to go golfing, and they're always doing something. And I don't know why I was just thinking about Mike. Like, what does he do with his dog when he goes every time?
I think he goes everywhere, man.
I know, because him and that dog are inseparable.
Right.
It's pretty funny. I mean, you know what? I give him credit because look at what he did for a living, and he beat his body up, and to transition into something that's just a little hobby for the rest of us, and he's doing pretty good at it. I think it's pretty rad.
Doing pretty well, yeah.
I think it's pretty rad.
Pretty nuts. I love following along with what he's got going on. Like I said, I don't know dick about golf, but it seems like he's doing pretty awesome. Whatever it's worth.
I mean, I'm not that. I play, but I'm not any good. I'm not a huge fan where I'm following stuff. But I can imagine going to that golf course and doing what he does is a super cool experience. Even all the times growing up, we did prom and things at Edgewood. What a beautiful golf course. I go there for the celebrity golf tournament. And last year I got to play there with the SEAL dudes. And I don't even care about the game of golf. What an amazing experience to the views and to be on the water. And we live in a beautiful place that we take for granted week in and week out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for us, when we go there, there's 1,000 tourists, so you don't want to be there. But we just take advantage of that little stuff. I mean, I know you don't golf, but let's go one time.
Okay.
I think my first set of clubs was $100 for the whole bag. And I played with those things for
putt-putts.
I played with those things for 15 years.
You can rent them, right?
You can rent them.
Yeah, I'll just rent them.
I'll let you use the other set. It's not
lefty.
Oh man, my wife's left-handed.
Oh man.
But I don't think you want to use women's clubs. You can rent clubs. You have a good time. You laugh. You joke. Maybe drink some whiskey.
Maybe.
I've
heard that happens.
Yeah, usually I bring. There may or may not be a flask in the truck or the bag just for those experiences.
Let's. Speaking of flasks, let's talk about Jeff Herbert at ODM Defense and those flask holsters that he had there at the Whiskey Bonanza.
So I came to Jeff, it's been 5 or 6 years. I said, dude, can you make me a holster for this flask? Yeah, I can. I can put and pass stick around anything. So he made me one with the Nevada State flag on, and I wore it at SHOT Show proudly. And many, many people offered me money for this flask holster. And Jeff's been like, oh, we got to do it. And I was very proud of him to step up and do that and make those things. And it's a simple little design, right? But like, we're all into Kydex and we're all into these things. Everybody's buying holsters for their guns and their knives and their axes and doing all this stuff. But, cute, a little flask holster that just slips on your belt or whatever, they're pretty slick, right?
It's fun. Yeah.
And he made them around, he got some flasks. He made these around flasks. It was a package deal. Mine was a special camo that I ordered a long time ago. Multicam. He named it like Woodland Jits or something, but I wish I have it in the truck. I should have brought it in so you could show it.
Yeah, I guess I took pictures. I actually had posted a video, I think right after the Whiskey Bonanza.
Yeah, I think I posted a picture of mine. My
very cool.
My multicam pattern is a little different, but Jeff.
Oh, you did just have one. Yeah.
Jeff does a good job. again, like you, like me, we have full-time jobs. He has a full-time job. Kydex is something he does on the side. In the gun business, he loves shooting, training, and this is what we're about, right? We drink some whiskey, we shoot some guns, you make targets, he trains people how to shoot targets and makes holsters for your targets. You know, we got other guys that sell guns, paint guns. It's a cool little community. You think the gun community is big, but it's really not that big, right? You know, it
is amazing. Once we started doing the targets, how interconnected everybody was. Is like, it's not that big.
No, it's not. Really, you know, like I think there's a Willett lived down the street from you or something, and he's a good dude. And you don't even, you hang out with him, you see him, and nobody knows what that guy's done in his life. He's done some great things, but you can learn a lot from him, learn to shoot from him. And it's a simple little thing. All here in this town, we can just go to BLM land, set up one of your targets, and you can learn the stuff that guys go to school, pay piles of money for to go to school.
That's one of the biggest things I preach. I mean, the amount of access that we have to information and experience in the gun industry just right here in Douglas County is absolutely mind-blowing. You know,
that's insane.
I would have never, ever known if it wasn't for Corey starting First Line. I would have never had it. It's like I took my CCW with Matt, my first go around, and it was probably the first time I started connecting the dots as to, it's like, oh, Matt Willett. It's like, oh yeah, we know Matt. Or and it was like all of a sudden Jeff's in there, and then it was like boom, 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 boom. It was a connect the dots, and everybody, you know, hooked up, you know, the Irwins. I mean, it was.
It's so small. It's so small. Like I hooked up with the Axelsons by chance. My friend Ryan, he works for Russ now, but he worked for Axelson, but he worked for Bullseye at the time. We went to high school together. I ran into him. I met Jeff, got connected with, and it just escalates from there, and everybody knows each other. Now, some of it being small business deals can go awry, and there's all that crap, but
it's still high school.
It's still, everything's junior high. Yeah. That's how life is at this, you know, right? Everyone's got something to say, but, you know, in the end, we're in a great community.
Yeah.
You know, I know Matt through a different group of guys I don't go to church and do those things, but he's with a group of guys that do. And I've met with them in a men's group, and it's been that was a cool experience for me. And they got a group of men that support each other. And they ride bikes, and some of them shoot, and they do different things together. And, you know, Russ is a whole different breed where he's painting guns, where he used to be in the gun retail, and he found a niche, and he's doing amazing for himself. You know, Jeff found a niche training and doing security and been in Kydex. You know, and I don't know how much Matt still trains and does his classes and stuff, because I know he's got a full-time job and a wife and kids and life outside of his former career, you know. And that's all these guys, but they still they have this passion over here that they can't make a living at,
right?
But we still connect with each other, and they're not afraid to give you that information for free. We got a lot of guys in this community, and everybody has a different way of what works for them, right? Like, there's a group of dudes, Cogworks, Garrett's amazing
guy,
right? Like, so there's a stream of dudes that have taught underneath him that I've learned from, that have showed me things, but they all have a different way. Like, Mike might teach me one way, Jim Irwin teaches me a different thing, but I put it all together and use it myself, right? And
how could you go wrong with that?
You can't.
No.
I've got to learn to shoot from these men have done things that I don't care what you've seen in the movie. These guys have done it. You know, the real stuff. These are the guys that they pay to be the extras in the movies because they know how to do it already, right? You know, Jim and these SEALs. There's a dude, Charlie Melton. The dude was a sniper instructor at Coronado. You know, everybody talks about Chris Kyle. Well, this guy taught Chris Kyle how to shoot. And I've got to sit and shoot long range with that man. And then there's local dudes. Joe Cheragoni. People may not know this dude. This dude doesn't talk. I did a long range competition. That guy shot 31 out of 32 targets. And we were shooting out to 700-800 yards with wind left to right. And he's just nailing it. Right. And he goes and shoots. He actually went with Charlie when Charlie shot the world record for the longest shot at one point, which was like 2 miles or some ridiculous crap. But that's coming from people here in Douglas County. Right. And these
so rich with
these are guys that you get to learn. And Jim.
Yeah. Oh God.
Dude. And getting learn to shoot from Jim. Jim's a buddy. You know, you run into Jim somewhere and he's outgoing. He's amazing. He's a great teacher. He's left-handed. I just sent my wife to him to shoot because she's left-handed too. But that's another thing. Send your wife to someone else anyways. Don't try to teach her.
God, no.
It's to your point. You don't even know people pay lots of money to learn to shoot like we have learned to shoot from some amazing guys. Yep. And it got Jason Tingle, who learned from Mike, who learned from Garrett. Jason trained under Garrett and them. Bobby Wilson. You got Jeff. You got Jim. Matt, the list goes on. Matt,
it does not stop.
And those are and
that's
Ryan
just like right here in Johnson.
And that's
Lane.
just Johnson Lane.
My
right?
room left us, but
and who knows who else is in this town?
Yeah.
I haven't even met them all.
Right. You know, you look at different categories too. Like you said, you did 3-gun. And
Jeff and I did a competition. I didn't realize it was that big of a competition. Nevada Surcoat sponsored me for that competition. I don't know why he did that, but I think Russ had set up a booth and he got I think he let Jeff and I shoot under his name or whatever. It was an amazing experience to go shoot this huge competition under Limcat. I don't know if you know, Limcat makes 1911s. They're up there with Staccato, you know.
Oh.
And they make a nice gun. It was an amazing competition. It was good stuff. Jeff and I shoot. I go to the local IDPA just to stay busy, but you know, there's so many guys in this valley that are so good that I go out there and I think I'm good. And then there's a dude around here, Josh Perry. I don't know if too many people know him, but dude, you go shoot a competition with him and you're like, yeah, Mom, I'm retiring. I'm starting over.
And it sucks too because you have nothing but instructors. They have nothing but knowledge just being pumped in you all day, and you're like, "Fuck, this isn't it,
dude." These guys,
this is not the thing.
You get out there and you're doing stuff, and you think you're good, and then you get your doors smoked. Like we got Mike McBroom to come out to a thing one time, and he first time ever shooting a competition.
I miss Mike, man.
He blew everybody's doors off, and it was like, okay. And Jim came out to there, smoked everybody, and he's like, this might not be for me. I'm like, yeah, but at least you got out here and moved, right? And Jim's doing his thing. He worked for Staccato for quite a long time, and now he's built up his business here in town. It's amazing to me that you get to come to see your point, man. There's other guys here that I can't name them because they're still active.
I just thought about Ira LaVarge. I mean,
Ira, dude,
he's fucking badass too. It's like, I mean, we're talking like Justin Johnson Lane.
Yeah, I only met him through your whiskey exchange.
He's badass.
He's cool. Which, by the way, Ira, that we opened that Old Forester. You weren't lying. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It may have been a little cold outside. It kept us warm though.
So real quick recap. The whiskey exchange, super fun for me because I got to interact with every single one of you guys. It was a lot of legwork, but 17 people, 17 different bottles, me running around town delivering them.
Yeah, we got to work it out where you men can take care of yourselves.
Yes, I want you all to. I mean, but I think we did start the Brown Water Society here in Douglas County, and I think that in itself should lend some sort of aid to rescue this mission that last year was such a disaster. But it was neat because there's a lot of people that signed up for the exchange. Because I sent out kind of it was a very select mass text or invite, but people that I knew
were into it
would not fuck me on the back end, right? But what it did do is it gave me an opportunity to come hang out with you guys for a little bit, sit down, talk. I mean, we deliver the bottle 95% of the time. I bring the bottle, it's getting uncorked right there.
Yeah, I think when I brought you the bottle I can't remember who I had. Oh, they lived down the street from you. I brought them a bottle, And I believe I gave him Team Whiskey because, well, I'm going to promote those dudes because whatever. But Ira gave me that bottle. And I think you and I sat here and drank out of a different bottle. I don't know which one. I don't remember which one it was, but it was really good. And we sat and, as we're sitting here talking, I got to thinking about how we've known each other so long, but what brought us back together was your targets. You've lived right here. And I mean, I know your neighbors. I know everybody around you. It's Gardnerville. Everyone wants to talk about 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon.
Gardnerville is about 3 degrees.
Yeah, it's easy.
Whenever I meet somebody, I say, name 3 people. I bet you I know one of them, right? You're born and raised here. You've been here a long time. I mean, what an amazing thing to connect as men on a different level. We've been through a bunch of stuff in our life and we get to connect and talk to each other, almost having the same experiences without knowing it. Right. Like I met Corey through a coworker, Darren, a long time ago. We went on a motorcycle ride when we, hey man, what's up? But to get to connect with Corey and know who he is cool. Yeah. Over what? The gun community. Over some whiskey.
And this was the coolest thing. So when we first started making our short list for First Line, it was like I had my list and you were on it, and then it was like Corey had this list and then you were on it, and I'm like, what? The list all of a sudden was like we molded it and it was like, all right, I guess we only know like 10 people, but it was like, but it was neat.
Well, I appreciate being on both you guys' list.
It was cool.
Makes me feel cool as a person, I guess. I don't, me, I'm not seeking attention and I'm not out there trying to do things.
To this day, I'm still utilizing those R&D sessions that we had out there while, it was just, you and Darren and Lowry and Willette. I mean, just out there just blowing these things to pieces so we could see kind of where the problems lied. We could kind of
I remember shooting the stand specifically with my AR So, and Corey corrected it.
Yep.
Like you let me borrow that target, and the point of the borrowing the target was to get you some footage to do some things. I didn't get you that much. I did some stuff, but back to what you're saying, we're using footage from 4 or 5 years ago when you first, and your targets have changed since then.
They have. What you have is definitely not what we have on the market right now.
No, but it's the principalities of it, right? Like it's the stand. Let's start with the stand. If everybody bought a stand, you're going to adapt from there. You can put your targets on there. You can shoot IDPA. I've set up IDPA matches where we go there and we take it up, set it down. And if we had your stands, oh my God, it'd cut set up time in half.
Badass.
It'd be rad. But it's getting them out there in their face to buy them. Like you were talking, you had this market saturated. I know you've gone to Sacramento to do some things. You're expanding into Fernley. You're trying to do it all, man. And all of us that have some kind of reach should be helping you reach out there as friends and men supporting each other. You see all this, I don't know, hating on each other about stupid little things. This person does that and that person does. Pick each other up. I don't care, man or woman. Pick each other up and do it.
That does support kind of bring it back to full circle. I mean, the idea is we have this community of people with a wealth of knowledge about the stuff that the hobbies that we're fortunate enough to be a part of, right? And if you took those guys and you got all the bullshit out of the room and you sat these dudes together and you guys had just a big whiteboard. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you guys could just hammer out it sucks because you're talking about competition. And that in itself is tough because you have so many people in such a small community doing essentially on paper the exact same thing, right? We will all issue a CCW. So you move here from fucking California, you get your Nevada license, and you get to go get your CCW because now you're in a cool state that allows you to actually get a CCW. Cool. Now who are you going to pick? Well, what if you had this conglomerate of knowledge, like this network of people that were essentially, because it is my personal belief that these guys all have something different to offer. I mean, we've like we were just talking about earlier. I've sat through enough of these guys' classes now that they're not the same.
No, they're not.
They're not. They're not the same. It's the same tool, but the database is completely different.
Yeah, they're given a list. You know, if you're going to be an instructor, here's a list of qualifications you have to meet to be an instructor. Here's your licenses. Here's your thing, whatever, right? Look, Matt Willett has a different set of experiences in his service than Jeff Herbert has a different set. Yep. Preston has a different set. These guys all have different sets of what worked for them. Close quarters combat, or talk to a cop. Talk to some cops. They're like, dude, you better practice how you carry.
Yep.
Talked to many of them. He said, I've been in one shootout in my life. It was the day I chose to carry my holster up under my armpit, which I have never done. He said, I spent 10 minutes in a gunfight looking for my gun. And I damn near got killed because I didn't put it on my hip that day. So to think that you're not going to muscle memory immediately if something happens to you, you're out of your mind. And
get out there, get in there, train, draw from holster, dry fire, like that kind of stuff. People, and I've probably beat this horse to death, but the idea is you go out there, you take the class, you get the cert. That is just the beginning. That's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. I believe that you should have basic pistol and firearms knowledge training class. Like I taught Hunter's Ed for a little bit. They literally break it down to cartridge, this, and this. People go out and get their CCW and believe that, cool, I can carry now. I'm ready to go. I got family members that have done this, and I say that's dumb. That's the dumbest thing you've ever said to me. Just because you can carry that thing doesn't mean you're protected. Okay, cool. You're packing that around in your purse. Are you packing it around correctly in your purse? Are you okay with shooting somebody? And this comes, I know Matt teaches it. I know Jeff teaches it. I know Jim teaches it. Those are the three people that I've been associated with and talk CCW with, right? You're talking about taking somebody's life. So it better be the last damn thing you're going to do, in my mind. You better have talked your way out of it, and it's the last resort.
100 different ways, yeah.
Right? So
last resort. That
training needs to be instilled in people before they take their CCW. And I've talked to people, and I know for a fact there was a prominent person in this valley. They no longer live here. His wife got her CCW, and halfway through the class, she said, I'm going to finish this class, but I probably never carry a firearm in my life. And the reason being is what you just explained to me is I can't handle that burden. Fair enough. And that's why it's explained to you how it's explained to you. But I believe you should have some type of basic pistol certification before you even get to take the class.
I 100%.
I know it sounds dumb, and people can disagree with me all they want, but I took my son out this last week, and I've been shooting with my kid for a while. I taught him how to use a pistol, and I show him how to do things, but I want him to know how to manipulate everything. And I explained to him, I said, hey, if I get barky with you, don't get mad, because we're talking about life and death.
This is important. This is an important lesson. Yeah.
I am your father. That's cool. But out there, I have taken the range officer class, and I'm going to bark at you if you're being an idiot with your gun. And they're pretty good with it, right? But I want him. He wants to get a CCW, but I want you to be proficient and understand that it's not about pulling your gun on somebody to be cool.
Right.
If your gun comes out of your holster, it's coming out of your holster. I believe if your gun comes out of your holster, it's coming out of your holster to go off the end. That's why that's why I carry what I carry.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have a safety.
There's a very famous quote, and I don't remember who it was by, but it says, don't pull the thing out unless you plan to bang. Right. And this quote has stuck with me. And like I said, I can't remember who said it, but it is a phenomenal example of gun ownership.
Yeah.
Like you have this thing on you because if shit goes sideways, you're going to be ready. How many people can honestly sit there and tell me that they've been out there practicing their dry firing, practicing out on the range even? I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm the first culprit that I'm not. I mean, we own a fucking target company.
Yeah.
And how many weeks out of the year do I miss? You know, it's like
I'm just as guilty. I shot last week on my birthday, 2 weeks ago, whatever, and that's probably the first time in 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
and that's retarded. Like you can literally take 10 minutes to go shoot a mag and get yourself proficient. You know, Jason Tingle, he practices damn near every day. He's dry firing every day.
If
he's
he
out at
can't
the
make
range
it out and actually shoot. Yeah,
but you know what? When it comes time, I want him on my side.
Yeah,
right. Like. You got to practice. It's just like anything. And it's the same with, you got to apply your sports mentality.
Yeah.
You don't show up to football practice and you're good.
And, you know, you look at this as a tool. You look at this as a job. I mean, because if shit was to hit the fan, guess what? That is your mission. That is exactly what you signed up for. You know, you went out and you took this class, and I hope to God you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I remember this story, and I don't remember how many years ago it was now, but this guy was on a college campus, and there was an active shooter, CCW holder. He admitted online that he went and ran and hid and let this active shooter slaughter a couple. I don't remember what the numbers were. I'm not going to even try to get into it. But what's the difference from what you think you can do when you're out there practicing versus what, and to your point, what you can actually do when shit does, when you are at Columbine, when you are at the movie theater in Colorado.
Exactly.
You know?
But let's be real. We can practice. We can do whatever you want. I don't know. I've never been in it.
I don't think so.
But I'll tell you what I do know. I know that the number of the men we have talked about have been out on two-way firing range.
Mm-hmm.
And they know how they're going to act on that two-way firing range. And when they give me a piece of advice about a two-way firing range,
fucking take that.
I'm going to listen.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't know. You can. We've all watched war movies. We've all seen Saving Private Ryan. You don't know if you're going to be up 'em sitting in the corner crying like a little bitch.
Right.
You don't know that till shit starts happening. And so you got to train yourself. And it's not just firearms. I do jujitsu. And when I start talking to people in jiu-jitsu, holy shit, the number of people that do jiu-jitsu. And I'll tell you, it's a diffuser. You learn, it's not about being cool and tough and fighting. You really do learn to systematically approach situations. Mm. You want to talk your way out of it. Maybe some minute physical.
It's like de-escalating.
It's all about de-escalating. Mm. You know, people want to get their CCW to brandish their firearm. Well, that's a crime. Okay. You see these cool videos of the dude like pulling up next to the guy in the car, like, oh, you're being
those dudes that are shooting through their windshield at a like road rage. Like,
okay,
that shit doesn't work.
Anybody that's trained in any way, shape, or form out of a car knows that you can't shoot through your windshield at a straight angle. Mm-hmm. These guys, I would be willing to bet. I know it's not the movies, so get all that out of your head.
Yeah,
get all that out of your head.
Not gonna happen.
And train. I'm probably just as guilty. You know, I go shoot the IDPAs. My gun's on my hip. Mm-hmm. Where do I carry?
Right.
I carry appendix.
Right.
And do I practice drawing appendix very much? Probably not as much as I should.
Right.
But find what works for you. Find the gun that works for you. Train with it. Ask these questions. No question is a dumb question. There's just different guys. Some guys are doing it for the money. The guys we've talked about, none of them are doing it for the money. They're doing it to give you their knowledge so that they know that they have safe people.
And to that point, in closing, can you just give us a solid rundown on anything you want to shout out? Anybody you want to shout out?
Oh.
Let's start about the affiliate program. Anybody want to talk about?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm an affiliate for you guys, First Line Ballistics. I'm an affiliate for Patriot Beard Supply. I'm on the Matthew Axelson board for the Matthew Axelson Foundation. I don't even remember at this point. Just so many things. Indebted Patriot. We try to give back to the community. Try to do things. I'm just a fan of success and promoting each other. I thank you for having me here. I know we've rambled and we've talked God knows how long. I don't even know what time it is.
Yeah, this could be a good one.
But you're gonna
harder, I think.
But you're gonna have all kinds of stuff to cut up. I thank you for this conversation. we know each other. We've known each other for a while, but there's probably some shit you learned about me today that you didn't even know.
Beauty of it.
Or how deep to dig or whatever. And I hope to get to talk to some of these other dudes about stuff. Maybe it's not on a podcast. Maybe we sit around your fire and have.
If Nate would build the ultimate fire pit.
Yeah, Nate, we need a fire pit. I have a Chakra Club fire pit, but I hate it.
Oh, listen. Okay. So, in closing, is we don't, as males, sit down and have those heartfelt conversations enough, right? We are all going through some shit that we feel too. It's almost emasculating to sit there and talk to your boys about, like, it's not good. Things are rough. Right?
And I know I've got a couple times that people may or may not. I've been choked up a few times. I don't know if you know this or not, but I gotta.
That's what I love about you. You're
but
vulnerable.
like, be vulnerable. You better be vulnerable.
Teddy bear.
I got a good buddy that I do jujitsu with, and he was recently diagnosed with.
Buddy Matt.
Yeah.
Hey.
And I'll tell you what, you wouldn't know. If you talk to him,
he's a fucking monster.
You wouldn't know.
He's a monster.
And all the shit I've done in my life, I want to be like him.
Mm-hmm. And it just shows me, like, the jiu-jitsu community. You guys are a band of brothers, regardless.
It's jiu-jitsu aside, it's family.
You guys are a family. We didn't have to actually have a ton to talk. Like, there was this bottle.
Well, it probably loosened me up a little bit, but still at the same point, as I get older, I don't want to say I don't care, but you got to get it out. You got to talk to people. You got to
this is what this is.
I'm trying to, my life, I want to be born black and white. I'm not playing games.
Mm.
It's, recently had a bunch of friends pass away and we're 50 years old, 45, 50 years old. You get better every day. Live every day. Do your thing.
You never guaranteed tomorrow. That's my biggest point. Now, I want to give you one opportunity. Don't fuck this up.
I'm going to. You already fucked it up.
Talk about, okay, so here's your time to shout out all those companies we talked about this entire podcast, because I'm going to, like,
gotcha.
So go now or forever hold your peace.
Well, the Indebted Patriot, we
Beard Supply.
Patriot Beard Supply, the Team Whiskey, man, the Matthew Axelson Foundation is another thing I'm a part of. I, by default, is the suicide prevention around here. That's a good one. A lot of breast cancer stuff with my wife. First Line Ballistics. It's just, ODM Defense, I'm a part of them doing their thing. I promote them out of Cerakote and those guys. Even Jim Irwin and his stuff with his shooting competitions, his long range classes are amazing, actually. I'm not trying to promote him to toot his horn, but he really knows.
He doesn't need it, but
he really knows. Yeah, he'll take that all to his head. He really takes it into. I mean, man, I'll throw out Minden Meat and Deli, Troy at Battleborn.
Yeah,
those guys supply me with my booze, but it's not about that. It's like, it's as simple as my kid went in there.
Yeah,
Troy, what is my dad like?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Troy gave that kid a bottle of whiskey to buy me for my birthday, and. He knows
we are blessed. So we can find you at.
I got Patriot Beard on Instagram, Patriot Beard on TikTok. I think I'm on TikTok.
This is the best part.
Tell
me where you're at.
I'm on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
And for us, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Bourbon and Ballistics podcast. You can find us at TikTok and Spotify at Bourbon and Ballistics. And if you would choose to see our disgusting, ugly faces,
yeah, right,
you can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Bourbon and Ballistics Podcast. I am your host, Joel Potter. This is my opportunity to thank you, Jeremy Litka, for hanging out, doing the business.
Thank you.
Love you, brother.
That's for the ones that didn't make it.
Across state lines, we'd